Hi guys, my name is Miriam. So today I wanted to share my story, my journey of how I became a registered nurse. Some of you know I am currently working as a registered nurse. Obviously it wasn't an easy journey. I didn't get it as fast as I thought I would. So I'm hoping that this video today will encourage you. I know that I'm not the only person that went through what I went through. I know there are some people out there that have questions, maybe they're starting their journey and they don't know what lies ahead. Hopefully this video can answer some of your questions and sort of put you at ease and know that you are not alone. So just to rewind where all of this started. So when I was in year 10, I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do once I finished high school. And initially, I wanted to study early childhood education. I really wanted to be a childcare worker because I loved kids. I've always loved children and babies and all that stuff. But towards the end of high school, I started to think, you know what, I don't really think that this is my place. And growing up, I was seeing my mom and my older sister. They had both become nurses and I just loved watching them and I was inspired by them. I could say they actually inspired me to become a nurse. But not only that, I also just had the heart for people. I've always loved looking out for people and just looking after people and mainly being an advocate for people. So once I finished high school, I didn't do so well in my HSC and I was devastated. I was completely devastated because I had my whole life planned out. I think I graduated from high school about 17 and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, by the age of 24, I'll have my degree. I would have gone back to uni maybe. I'll have my kids. I'll be all set. That wasn't the story. So I graduated from high school 2013, I believe. And I decided, you know what? Since I couldn't get into uni and I couldn't get into TAFE, mind you, I said, let me do an online course. So I went into an online course and I started that. And that course was to go for 12 months. Didn't complete that course. I struggled so much to study online because it was such a new environment for me. I couldn't even call it an environment because I was always at home. I was always at home, as either at work, working at Macca's, come back home, and I was never motivated. I don't know how some people study online because I could not do it. It was so hard for me, and I just felt like a failure. I thought like, you know what? I've tried so many things, and even online course I can't do. It made me feel so discouraged, and I put myself down so many times because I felt like, my friends who I graduated with, they know what they want to do and they've already started. They're ahead of me. But here I am at home. I couldn't even get one assignment through. I can't even get one essay through. I don't even understand what I'm studying. So at this point, I was sort of like in limbo. I didn't know exactly where I was going. And I started to question, is this really where I'm supposed to be going? Why is it so hard? Why is it that every door that I knock on, it just shuts? Mind you, I was praying about it as well. My parents were praying about it too. But I always just felt like maybe this is not it. Maybe this is not it for me. So while I was doing that online course, like I said, I struggled so much. I struggled because I'm a visual learner, if that's a word. I'm a visual learner. So I need to see things. I need to hear. I need to be, one-on-one with the teacher. Every time the teacher's talking, I need to be able to ask questions and then we can move on. But I didn't have any of that. So I struggled so much to understand, especially because studying nursing was completely new to me. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what anything was because I had never really studied it in high school. So to start off like that was not the greatest idea for me, but I was desperate. And I remember thinking to myself, asking myself, I said, Miriam, are you doing this because you want to be ahead with everybody else? Are you doing this because all your friends have found their careers and they've started uni? Or are you doing this because you actually want to? Because there's so many doors that have been closed in your face, but you're still trying. Why? I had to question myself. Anyways, didn't end up finishing that online course. It was terrible. I spent so much money. I felt so bad. I felt like a disappointment because my parents were so on board with me and they were encouraging me and they were there with me all the time. But in my heart, I just felt like it's not working out. I'm so sorry. I started this thing, but I cannot finish it. I cannot continue this course online. Obviously, I had signed a contract. I couldn't get out of the course. So I wasn't studying for the rest of the year. I think I did the course for about 3 months and I had to just leave it. I stopped studying, but I was still paying for it. Imagine, I stopped studying, but I was still paying for it. And then I was waiting until the next year to maybe start something new. At this point, I was starting to think, you know what? Nursing is not for me. It's not for my type of intellect. You know, I was starting to think maybe I'm not smart enough for it, you know. Fast forward to the end of the year, towards the end of the year, I decided to apply for a childcare course. I applied for a diploma so that I can somehow get into nursing with that diploma, because I was told if you have a diploma certificate, you can always get into nursing with that. So I was like, you know what, let me take that route. So I started that. Literally, first day was orientation. Second day was my first day of class. I had all my books, my uniform, because we had to wear uniforms. I had everything ready. I was like, you know what? Stuff nursing, it's not for me. I've found a new thing. I love my class. I love my teachers. It feels so great. My parents were happy because, you know, I was happy. Literally the second day of my course, I get a phone call from one of the TAFEs that I had applied for and was declined. They said, look, someone has withdrawn their application and we're wondering if you're still interested to study. Bruh. I said, excuse me, ma'am, I need to step out. I need to pick up a phone call. She's like, oh, no worries. I went outside. My heart was racing. My heart was racing because deep down in my heart, even though I had gone to study early childhood education, I knew that deep down in my heart, that's not where I want to go. I don't even want to use that route. I said, I want to go into nursing. I want to study nursing. And when I got that message, I remember just getting out of that classroom and just tears flowing down. I was like, wow, God. I was like, I had given up. I had given up on praying, but God came through at the right time. And I called them straight away and I said to them, yes, yes, and yes. I said, yes, yes, yes. And that was like the most happiest day of my life because I felt like finally I've got a foot into the door. And that's all I needed. Now I'm inside. I'm in nursing. I'm studying at TAFE. I'm studying a diploma in nursing. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. I was so excited. I was like, finally, finally I'm where I've always wanted to be. I'm ready for whatever comes my way. I don't mind. I'll take it all. I'll take it all head on. And obviously this course was for 1 year. So everything was bam, bam, bam. Very fast track course. I get into the course. I start the course. I've made my friends. I'm comfortable. And then comes the assignments. Then comes the exams. And everything was just going upside down. Nothing that I ever expected. Sorry, disclaimer, battery died, but we move. I was like, so I'm in the course. I started the course. I'm happy. I'm grateful to God. I'm like, you know what, God, you're amazing. Not knowing what I had got myself into, not knowing what was lying ahead. The course starts to become a bit difficult. And I just remember every single time during exams, that those were the most stressful times of my life because I just could not get it. I would spend hours and hours in the library after school. All my friends had gone home. It was literally just me and the library, and I'm there. Nothing was coming in. Nothing was staying in. And sometimes I would ask my teachers to stay back with me and help me understand. But a lot of the times I always felt a bit shy. And ashamed to ask for help because I felt like, I kind of needed to know this. I don't know why I ever thought like that. But I feel like that's where I went wrong, and that's where my struggle began because I never asked for help. I was always afraid to ask for help. And so exam time came, assignments came, and I was just struggling, honestly struggling the whole way through. I can tell you, honestly, the only time that I actually enjoyed myself being at TAFE was when I went to placements. The struggle that I faced in that 1 year, the person that I was in that 1 year is not the person that I am today, even physically. Sometimes I look at those photos of how I was when I was studying at TAFE. I was so skinny, and sometimes I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want that body back. But when I think about where I was mentally in those days, when I look at those photos and I remember where I was mentally and emotionally, I would never want to go back there. I would even feel afraid because I felt like I was so far off. It's not what I expected. It's so hard. I put myself so many times. I felt like I was the lowest of the lowest because my marks, my results it's sort of like they identified who I was. To the end of that course, I felt like I had just finished running a marathon.
you know. I literally just made it through. So that was in 2015. I had just finished my course. At this point, I was tired, physically, mentally, and emotionally tired. I was scared of even trying anything else. People were saying to me, oh, you're gonna go and study your RNs? And I'm like, yeah, of course. But in my heart, I'm like, no way I would go through. I just made it through this course. I don't think I can get through 3 years of something similar to this. No way. That was in my heart. That was between me and God. People never really knew that so many times I hesitated to continue studying. So many times I hesitated to go into doing my registered nursing course because I was afraid. I was afraid of feeling the same way that I felt again. You know, because at this point I was thinking, this is just who I am. I'm not cut out for this. My intellect is not built up for this type of thing. You know, because I was always questioning, why is it that I don't get it? Why is it that I'm always the one that's struggling? You know, no matter how many times I try to understand things, I just don't understand it. I start thinking about job applications. Obviously, I have a diploma now. I need to find work. What company or what hospital would want to take somebody like me? Someone like me who literally just made it through. I've wasted a whole year of studying and it's gotten me nowhere. And I felt like there's nothing that I can give. I don't deserve to be a nurse. I don't deserve to go and work into the hospital. I felt like I was not qualified enough. Anyways, I went and I just applied for the job. And my friends, all these friends who applied, I knew 100% that these girls are going to get the jobs. These girls, 100%, they're going to get their jobs. They're so smart. They know their things and everything like that. They're going to get their jobs. 2 weeks after, I get a message. I get an email for an interview at the hospital that I've always wanted to work in. I remember I was sitting right there. I just sat on the floor and I called my mom out and I sat her on the floor. And I said to my mom, I said, Ma, did you know that it's only today, right now, I've realized that the passion that we have in our hearts, the things that we cry for, the things that we fight for, that we want so much, is not just because, oh, we've been inspired by this person or this is something that I've wanted to do, but it's something that God actually puts in your heart. So when you feel like you're not capable or when you feel like you're not qualified, God comes through and he qualifies you because he's already called you. He's called you for this ministry. He's called you for this position. So it doesn't matter whether you've done so well in high school, whether you did so well in this course or what not, or what number you came, or what people know you of, or what your tutors remember of you. It's the purpose that he has aligned with your future. I never expected that it would be me. It would be me that would apply for a job. Me that was number 30 out of 30, you know. I was never number one. I was never this. I was never that. And I'm not afraid to say it. I would never be afraid to say it because that's my testimony. That's where God took me from. And that's why I humble myself every single time, because I know that where I am today is not because of what I did. It's not because of my hands. It's not because of my brain and how well it works, or my intellect. It's simply God. He picked me up and said, this is where I want you to be, you know.
So I've got the email and I've gotten the job that I never expected I would get. I've gotten the job in the hospital that I've always wanted to work in, but I never thought that would ever be possible. So now I'm working as an enrolled nurse. I'm taking everything as it comes. I'm coming in with confidence. I know that I don't know everything, but one thing I found out is God doesn't expect me to know everything in order for him to put me where he wants me to be. I've come into work knowing that I am confident, not because of what I know, because clearly I don't know anything, but I'm confident because of the God that I serve. I am here not because my resume was so well written, not because I have all the great experiences in the world, not because I've gotten all the amazing marks, the HDs and the passes and the credits. No, I came here, or I got to this place where I am because of God. I understood that even when it felt like I was alone, I really was never alone. I understood even when I had a really, really bad day, I knew that I was where I was meant to be. Anyways, I start thinking about studying for uni and applying for uni. And so I was like, you know what? If God did it before, he can do it again. Let me give this uni thing a go, right? And so I applied for uni. Obviously, that was easy. Straight into the second year of uni. That was amazing. Clinical placements during uni time were the best for me because I just felt like I was at work. I'm just not getting paid. Yeah. When it came to the theory of everything, that's where I was just like, oh my gosh, Lord, we don't have to do this again. We do not have to do this again. Because TAFE was 1 year, yes. But uni was 3 times, you know, People always expected me. People would always talk to me like, "Oh, you studied in road nursing, right? You're working as an EN, right? Oh, this should be a piece of cake for you. This should be a walk in the park for you. You should be finished this course by next year." And I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah. But in my heart, I was like, bruh, I was the champion of discouraging myself. I used to put myself down so many times because I just felt like I was not capable. Even after God had shown me that it's not about what I know, it's not about what's up here, it's about the passion that He has put in within my heart, I still managed to discourage myself so many times. And that's another thing that I did wrong, and that's another thing that I regret. Clinical placements have always been my strongest point. Always been my strongest point, because I felt like the way I communicated with my patients, I just loved being there all the time. I loved looking after people, because this is all I've always wanted. Like, minus the studying part, like when I went to clinical placement, this is it. This was what I wanted. This was what I've been wanting my whole life. So whenever I went there, I was always doing the best that I can. I worked as if I was getting paid. I did extra work. I did more than I was expected to, because my passion was coming out to play. I couldn't help it. So I was doing clinical placement at a particular hospital, and it was very far from from where I live. It was very, very far. It literally was like 2 hours to get there. Driving, catching the train. I remember I used to wake up at 4 a.m. So during that placement, that was the last ever placement for my degree. And I remember we had a math exam that we had to do. And this math exams that we do for nursing, you have to get 100%. It's not 50 out of 100 you pass. You have to get 100% completely. I think it was about 20 questions, and I was like, it's not that many. It's not that hard, Miriam. If you really focus, you can actually do it. So I did the exam, and I was like, you know what? I actually feel confident. I actually feel, when you do something and you feel like, okay, this is actually gonna work. I feel like this is it. I got the results, and I think I failed by literally a decimal point. I can't even say a question or one question, literally a decimal point, because even where you put the decimal point, could affect someone, someone's life or someone's medication calculation and all that kind of stuff. So all these little things really mattered. And so I failed that exam by 1 mark. And I was like to God, I'm not taking it. I said to God, I'm not taking it. I was like, I'm not trying to go against whatever plan you have for me in this part of my life. But I said, I'm not taking it. I'm not studying. I'm not waiting till next year again, to the end of the year to graduate or to finish my course because of 1 mark. I said, God, you need to come through. I said, you've come through for me before, but you need to come through again. I remember that day when I got the results for that exam. I was in my car again. I was coming back from that hospital I was doing my clinical placement at, and I called my parents at home, and I said, look, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know where to go from here, because there's nothing else. There's no second chances. This is it. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do anymore, because this means I have to come back again next year, and not only to the beginning of towards the end, December, I have to wait a whole year to graduate or to do this exam again. If you know uni, that's just how it works. The following morning, they called me in and they said, look, we are giving students that are soon to graduate a second chance to redo this exam. And there was I think a few of us that had been in the situation. And I was like, wow. I said, look at God. Look at God. Anyways, I went and did the exam. My parents had been encouraging me. My dad used to tell me, Miriam, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to study. Where God wants to take you, He will get you there. Keep going, keep pressing through, because it's the ones that keep pressing through that actually make it to the other side. So I had that mentality. I'm encouraging myself constantly. I've given up on discouraging myself. I never, from that day on, I stopped saying anything negative towards myself. I was encouraging myself constantly. This was the exam that would determine whether I will graduate coming, 2019, coming April. These exams, they take literally like 10 minutes to mark. I get home, I park my car at home, and I get a text message, and it's 100%. Yeesh! I was like, finish! Wherever you are today,
whether you're studying nursing, whether you're studying engineering, whatever it is that you're doing, if anyone has ever told you that you will never amount to anything, if anyone has ever said anything over your life that should be a hurdle or that should be a stumbling block for you, just know that nothing can get in the way of God. And understand that desire, that burning desire within your heart, or the passion that you have for whatever it is that you're in right now, know that that passion did not come from any human being. It came from God. Be confident, not because of what you know. That's why I always tell people, it's not because of what I know or who I know or what I've studied. It's simply because of God. And that's why we go through these things. It's simply for the glory of God. If anyone dares to ask me, oh, how was it when you were studying? The first thing I say, man, look, it's only by the grace of God. And sometimes we just say that because, but when you go through that situation, you realize you'd be lying to yourself if you were to say, oh, it was okay, but you know, I struggled here and there, but I was like, but when you saw the hand of God, you would never forget to mention that it's only by the grace of God. Everything in our lives happens for a reason. Everything that we go through happens for the glory of God. God has chosen you for this journey. Whatever you're struggling with, God has chosen you for that journey. Not necessarily for yourself today, but for somebody else in the future. For another young girl or another young boy in the future that's going to be facing the same things, and they're going to come to you and say, how did you do it? What are you going to do? You're going to turn them back to God and say it was all God. And that's the whole point. That's how it works. At the end of the day, glory and honor belongs to God. And that's how we get the message of God across, because we relate to each other's stories. You know? Like I said before, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate.
Tell us that you graduated now.
Of course I graduated. Of course I graduated. How could I have not graduated? I think everybody went on the day I graduated. Everyone knew that I was graduating. But there was a Swahili song that was recently released, and I remember singing this song on the day that I graduated. So I'm just gonna sing it a little bit. Anyways, my mom might sing it in the background as well, but it's okay.
Oh, you've invited her now.
Ninakushukuru Mungu sababu ya mengi, hata uhai huu sikustahili. Ninakushukuru Mungu tena sababu ya vingi, hata nikiwa na sali, unajua na maanisha, sio kwamba eti nilitenda wema wakuja ninganisha na matendo yako makuu. Mimi Mungu ningekulipa nini uliponitoa? Siri ya moyo wangu matopeni topeni, ukanikatisha na wakuu juu. Umenipa heshima, ukanivuta machozi. Asante yo Baba, hata shukurani zangu, hey, shukurani zangu, hata shukurani zangu, hey, shukurani zangu. Asante Baba. Thank you so much for listening to my testimony. May God bless you. Please don't forget to subscribe. Comment down below what else you want to see. Share our page on your social media outlet. If you've had a similar experience, share it. I love to hear it. We love to hear it. God bless you and have a lovely day.